How's it going, everybody? My cup of tea here, back in the reaction video, and we're here to watch some more videos from Diamondbolt. Yay, yay! I know it's been a while since we last watched a video from Diamondbolt. I think it was the Transformers toy reviews, I believe, when he had like an addiction. I don't see any 2023 version of that, so hopefully he beat that addiction of buying Transformer toys. When I was going through Diamondbolt's channel, I come across some videos that I was like, oh, I'm actually curious what this is. What this will be about. And what I'm talking about is the Censorship series, I guess we can call it, because he did one on the TV shows and one in the video games. Now, I'm really curious about the censorship on TVs because I see Peppa Pig is banned, like the eyes are covered as banned. I know about Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of, but I'm like, what they ban Peppa Pig for? What they ban Peppa Pig for? So I'm curious what this is. Also, I see Spawn Friends in the top left corner, 4 kids. I see, yeah, Cartman. So let's just go right into this. I just want to see what it's all about and get back to watching some more Diamondbolt videos. So yeah. Let's start this. What did they? I'm trying to figure out what could they have possibly banned Peppa Pig for? Like, it's Peppa Pig.
Enough is enough.
Oh wait, is a pig right? Maybe? I don't know.
Enough is enough. I have had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday Friday play.
Ew.
Okay, so some of you might remember a while back, I made a video looking at how rating systems are really weird and basically don't make any sense at all.
We're gonna watch that one
I'm pretty sure
next.
I did mention in that video that the only thing that I think is more strict than the MPAA is censorship on television. Since, you know, going to the movies or buying something is at least a whole, what, like 2 steps? With TV, you only need a single button press to have access to the horrors of the world. Unlike the MPAA and their rating system, though, there's not really any clear-cut rules as to what you can or cannot show on TV, outside of, like, the obvious. I think the only one thing that I can think of is that, like, after 10 p.m. they kind of, like, ease up a little bit. But after that, it's more down to, like, an individual network or channel thing than it is...
Bruh, hold on, wait a minute. No.
Like, it's up a little bit. But after that, it's more down to, like, an individual...
I'm surprised Family Guy still rated TV 14 because they be gory in some of these things. They be, like, super gory, like, man... How is it still TV 14? It should be in some of these episodes.
Network or channel thing that is like an overarching set of guidelines that everybody has to follow. Just in general, TV tends to be a lot heavier on the censorship and guidelines than most other forms of media that I can think of. I think the only thing further than that would have to be like censorship in music, which turns entire rap verses into like Morse code.
Horrible.
Now, obviously I'm not going to be looking at every single example in this video because censorship is such an enormous scope to look at. I even asked for some examples from people on Twitter, and even just that alone was completely overwhelming. So if I miss a lot of really obvious ones in this video, I know, okay?
Wait, that was One Piece, but wait, what was that censorship right there?
So if I
Ain't no way they made Arlong shoot, I forgot her name, basically not Nami's mother, or maybe like mother, but not her real mother. I don't know. There's no way they made him shoot a finger gun. There's no way. That has to be, nah, he made an edit. There's no way 4Kids did that. I remember watching 4Kids when I was, a kid. Sanjay had that lollipop in his mouth instead of a cigarette. There's no way he did a finger gun. There's no way. I don't believe it. I don't remember that at all.
There's a lot of really obvious ones in this video. I know, okay? I'm not trying to cover everything here. There definitely has been gradual improvement in Western countries, at least, with what you can show on TV. I mean, back in the 50s, you couldn't even show a woman's belly button or a toilet.
That's wild.
And now you can quite comfortably show someone's face getting smashed in with a baseball bat for like a minute
straight, followed
by a Coca-Cola ad. Which, funnily enough, I can't actually show you on YouTube because the censorship on this site is even worse than it is on TV. So I'm gonna have to do that whole thing where if you want to see the uncensored version of the uncensored clips, you're gonna have to check it out on Patreon. I'm sorry, blame YouTube, not me. Okay?
Yeah, YouTube is awesome. Censorship is weird. It's weird. It feels like they pick and choose like what to censor, like for certain channels. But yeah,
you can see the exact difference in strictness between movie and television censorship as soon as you see what happens whenever they broadcast certain movies in like the US or UK and make every single character sound like they're on Play School.
Freak you, Sam Rothstein, freak you.
Mr. Falcon.
No.
You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps?
It gets much worse than this though, don't worry. You may have heard of this Christmas TV movie that had 2 entirely different versions made just in order to censor queer content in them. The movies Too Cool for Christmas and A Very Cool Christmas are completely identical, except in one, the main character has 1 dad, and in the other, they have 2. They literally shot 2 different versions of every scene whenever the parents show up, I assume to make 2 different variations of it for release in different markets, with the not gay one being bought out by Lifetime. No way. I was listening to a...
That's okay. That's Hey, different times back then. They did not want that on their TV for certain channels or something like that. That's wild. So they had another actor because they was like, all right, let's shoot the same TV show. Yeah, let's shoot the same TV show, but let's have a girl instead of a guy. You know, a husband and wife instead of two husbands. Let's, just in case, let's do that. What?
For release in different markets, with the not
nah.
gay one being bought out by Lifetime. No way. I was listening to a podcast recently with the creators of Smiling Friends, which I found really interesting, where they were basically saying how inconsistent the guidelines were that they had to work with. Like, violence for the most part, they said, was completely fine unless they showed brain matter, but they absolutely were not in any capacity allowed to show smoking or vaping. They weren't allowed to imply a blowjob, and they weren't allowed to show pubic hair on one of the characters.
No, that, you know what?
That's
weird.
That's wild.
Actually, I was joking, but there is a semi-real story, which was we had a character with, his pants kind of sagging.
Hey, DJ Spit. Hilarious.
It wasn't even that graphic. It's tame for, like, South Park Season 1 standards, but they said S&P jumped in and said you have to remove the pubes. So some poor bastard had to go in and delete the pubes frame by frame on this fucking character. Yeah, that's a true story, by the way.
Can't see pubes. Cannot see pubes on TV.
But
yeah, no, America especially, we don't care about gore and violence. We don't care. You can put that in all you want. We don't care about that here, gore and violence. But like some sexual stuff, like again, it's not even sexual. Showing pubes, I'm surprised they couldn't do cigarettes when they did, but I'm surprised they like, nah, you can't show cigarettes on our channel. But violence is okay. Okay. Brutally hurting somebody is okay. But smoking a character smoking a cigarette is like a no-go? That's like, you cross the line? That's wild. That's wild. Listen, yeah, like, violence. We love violence here. I don't know what to tell you. We just love violence,
it was
I guess.
all good to show a demon getting ripped limb from limb and beaten to shit by a crowd of people. So even the people who make these shows don't really understand what the guidelines are.
That's
now,
okay.
When it comes to animation on TV, there is an even greater threat to worry about than just sex and violence. The existence of other cultures. Ooh. It doesn't happen too much anymore.
I remember, yeah. I'm trying to think, was there a show I watched back in the kid where it's like it should have been a Japanese food, but they Americanized it, like put a burger instead of like a onigiri or something like that? I'm trying to think. Why would you have a PB&J wrapped up? It doesn't even fit the wrapper.
Western countries, because I think we have all come to terms with the fact that Japan exists. I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all anymore, because it definitely still does, but I think we're getting there, at least with stuff that isn't made for kids. Not all anymore, because it definitely still does, but I think we're getting there.
Dang, we couldn't escape the fry stereotype either. Dang.
At least with stuff that isn't made for kids.
They've got to be in here somewhere. Here you go, Snubble. Popcorn balls.
But Brock, there's no way Snubble's gonna want to eat them. Even I think they taste awful.
And I think you all know where I'm going with this.
Popcorn
it's
balls?
time to talk about For Kids.
Yay!
The word that still keeps me up at night. This was a company that localized and dubbed way too many anime and cartoons in the early 2000s. Everything from like Sonic X, 2003.
They did give us the best One Piece
series,
rap.
Dinosaur King, and
Ever.
even Kirby right back at you. But I think it would have to be an easy tie between One Piece and Yu-Gi-Oh! For the most heavily censored series that they handled.
I'm telling you, those people only took us in to capture us. Luffy!
That's hilarious. Luffy! The pain, the fear. Luffy!
Us in to capture us.
I need to use that.
If I can commend 4Kids for anything, it's that they went to a tremendous amount of unnecessary effort to shittily edit over firearms with like water guns and cigarettes with lollipops, which is somehow actually a step above their initial invisible guns in Yu-Gi-Oh!
I remember that. I'll never forget that.
Aggressively pointing their fists at people. Obviously, any and all religious symbols were altered. Any names that sounded too Japanese, their fists at people. Obviously, any and all religious symbols were altered.
Oh, I see. I'm like, what did? Wow, they got rid of the cross? Why? I mean, I saw them like the slash two. Wow.
Any names that sounded too Japanese were changed, but
yeah, they love changing the names.
Most importantly, there was this one guy in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX who had his butt crack removed. A moment of silence for the guy whose job that was. I didn't even know until doing this video that the Shadow Realm, which is like one of the three things I actually know about Yu-Gi-Oh!, was completely created by 4Kids as a substitute for characters dying in the original version.
Yeah, I knew about that later in my life. Like, wait, what? The Shadow Realm's not actually a real thing? Like, that's like something we like changed in America? Oh shoot! I'm still gonna say Shadow Realm though. That's canon for me. That's canon. The Shadow Realm is a canon thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe. They don't die. They go to the Shadow Realm.
So they just replaced it by saying that characters were being forcefully sent away to an eternal purgatory, which is so much better apparently. I guess it was such a successful workaround that it would later be basically plagiarized in other series like Bakugan with the Doom Dimension, that as far as I know was also a part of the original Japanese version. Any alcohol would obviously be swapped out with a much more family-friendly water or bottle of hot sauce.
You do like hot sauce. Oh, yes.
Because it makes perfect sense to have somebody down an entire bottle of hot sauce.
I'm faded off the hot sauce. I'm drunk off the
even
hot
after
sauce.
all of that, I still think the craziest thing 4Kids has ever done is enacting like this top secret government cover-up that Japan doesn't exist. In Sonic X, among censoring things like Rouge's cleavage, a national tragedy, any sign of any form of text on it, not just Japanese, would be completely removed. Which I'm guessing was probably done by like the production company who left it blank for localizers to fill it in later. But 4Kids was apparently just too lazy to change it back, even though some of it was already in English. In their Pokemon dub, food like rice balls would be changed into the much more...
Is that a whole sub? A hokey?
Already in English.
I can't.
Pokemon
I can't with
like
this.
rice balls would be changed into the much more American-friendly sandwiches. That's if they even bothered to change it at all.
Have a donut. That always cheers me up. Pika pika.
Not a donut.
Donuts are great.
Not a donut.
They're my favorite.
I think I saw like this in another
That must have
video.
been very confusing to an entire generation of children.
I honestly believed you.
You believed me that was a jelly donut?
I thought it was a Digimon.
But you lied to me.
So
you
wait,
lied
did-
to everyone.
One episode of the
You lied
first
to
season is
everyone.
pretty inspired by like Japanese folklore, with them having to use these talismans to ward off a ghastly, which in the English dub they simplify as being anti-ghost stickers.
We have stickers. These are anti-ghost stickers.
Yeah.
With localization of anime,
anti-ghost stickers.
it's pretty common practice for them
Yeah,
to
maybe.
change certain things to be more
How dare they make Popo blue? How dare they? That is a travesty. That is a sin against God. That's a sin against Kami to make Popo blue. Disgusting. Disgusting. You should have made it red if anything. That was disgusting. Oh no, that was just, no. He can only be black. He can only be black.
With localization of anime, it's pretty common practice for them to change certain things to be more accessible to a certain audience, but usually you would see that being...
I'm sorry, I gotta go back. Like, I know why they made him blue, but it just makes it look worse. Like, it feels like it's like way like more direct than if you made him blue than just making him black. It's like, oh, I don't know, he's supposed to be black. Then just him being, I don't know, it's like, dang, y'all really... more accessible to a certain audience, but usually you would see that being done with like the dialogue. I'm pretty sure it was fairly unusual for the amount of work 4Kids put in with like actually editing the show itself. In a show like Pokemon with fantasy creatures and an immortal protagonist, I'm pretty sure children are going to be completely fine suspending their disbelief with the food, alright? Now, I know I'm giving 4Kids a lot of shit, but honestly, some of their dubs are really nostalgic for me, especially like Sonic X, which I obviously grew up with. I think now that the Japanese version is just as easily accessible as the dub, it's not really as much of a problem anymore, but I do understand that back in the day, people who wanted like an authentic adaptation were probably feeling a little bit ripped off, especially considering that some of the changes they made actually affected the plot as well sometimes. Like in the Japanese version of Sonic X, there's a scene where one of Shadow's companions sacrifices herself to save him, whereas in the 4Kids version, she just fucking leaves. I could literally make an entire video out of the endless stupid changes that 4Kids made, but they weren't the only ones implementing censorship when localizing anime, just the most well-known. One of the most infamous localization changes was to the English dub of Sailor Moon, where Sailors Neptune and Uranus were changed from a couple to cousins to try and get around and reshape the context of why they were like so affectionate toward each other. I see, because they didn't like, you know, the whole they didn't want lesbians in their, okay, that's crazy. Is this girl and girl love? No, we can't have that. Make them cousins. What
cousins to try and get around and reshape the context of why they were like so affectionate toward each other, but just ends up making it really weird and uncomfortable.
Leave it to me, cuz. Okay.
Ew.
For Dragon
I don't like
Ball
that in
Z,
cousins
among
terms.
an endless amount of censorship for the violence.
Yes.
So you want some news, do you? It's your 5 seconds of fame.
Look, I can see their parachutes. They're okay.
The text on
I can see their parachute.
Look, I can see their parachutes. Buddy, the whole helicopter is done. No one's making it out of there. Everyone's in that helicopter is deceased.
Look, I can see their parachutes. They're okay.
The text
They're
on the
okay.
shirts of the demons were replaced
Hiffle,
with
yep.
Hiffle, which is
Never
meant to
forget
stand
about
for
Hiffle.
Home for Infinite Losers. Okay,
Yep.
that one's actually not bad. I can't tell you the number of examples of drawn-on swimsuits to cover up animated nudity, or the ever-present rule
Yep.
that guns are absolutely not allowed.
They do
but
not like
laser
guns.
are fucking awesome. The Disney XD airing of Doraemon followed in 4Kids' footsteps, with Japanese yen being changed to American dollars, chopsticks with forks, and a
Dang.
first aid kit with a pizza box. I'm pretty sure we
Why?
have first aid kits here too, guys.
No,
all
we
make fun
don't.
of-
No. That's only a Japan thing. We don't have. Our first aid kit is more pizza. That's it. Yep. Every time I open a first aid kit, it's a pizza box in there.
with a pizza box. I'm
This is
pretty sure
hilarious.
we have first aid kits here too, guys. We all make fun of 4Kids, but it's not like Japanese broadcasts of their own shows aren't censored to hell sometimes. The third part of JoJo blacked out any underage smoking, so Jotaro just has this black haze around his face sometimes.
disgusting.
One of the most common ways I see that even makes it onto Crunchyroll sometimes is just to cover up nudity or gore with literal black dots or white boxes like it's someone's first time on Windows Movie Maker.
I hate the black dots though when you're watching like gory stuff. I'm like, nah, just show it. Nah, let me see it. I'm watching anime. Just let me see it. The nudity one, I can understand.
The very violent ending of School Days didn't even make it to broadcast because of a very
I know about this show. I never watched it, but I know about the ending. I know about the main character. School Days. School Days ending, baby.
like incident that happened in real life at the time. So instead, they just repeated it's
I'm sorry,
someone's
what?
first time on Windows.
I was about to make a
Movie
joke.
Maker. The very violent ending of School Days didn't even make it to broadcast because of a very similar incident that happened in real life at the time.
Oh.
So instead, they
Okay.
just replaced it with 30 minutes of some nature footage. That's a very nice music in the background. It's funny because Japan is kind of like the inverse of America, in
Yes.
which like nudity is sometimes okay on certain channels, but violence is a big no-no. But it gets even worse internationally with more heavily censored countries. My Hero Academia in the Philippines blurred out all shots of
I had a
characters like
feeling
Momo's
that was gonna get
cleavage.
blurred.
For the 3 remaining anime they didn't ban, China took to covering suggestive content.
Dang, look at the difference. Dang. Tragic. What a travesty.
An image. For the 3 remaining anime they didn't ban, China took
That's
to
that
covering
Dragon Maid show,
suggestive
right?
content in
Never
anime
watched
like
it.
Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, where they deflated all of the boobs. The Persian dub of
I have to
SpongeBob
watch
then
it.
one-ups this somehow by like covering up Sandy with a purple blob, which is
That's
honestly more effort
wild.
than Thailand goes to with just blurring half the friggin' screen. The same goes for South Korea with examples like My Dress Up Darling, but only for the lower half of the body for some reason, which makes it look so much worse than it actually is. In Germany,
Okay.
they made a character in Naruto's sword invisible, which means you end up with much worse than it actually is. In Germany,
There's a reasonable censorship, and then there's blurring out. Here's my sword handle. Huzzah! I'm Zawaza of the Hidden Mist Village. Here's my sword handle. I'm about to hit you. What? I mean, that'd be pretty dangerous if you find a guy with an invisible sword blade.
they made a character in Naruto's sword invisible, which means you end up with this one.
This is the best video of all time. This is one of the videos of all time. This man floating. This I might have to. This might be the thumbnail. This guy floating over here.
When he's just floating in mid-air. It takes effort to put in less effort than 4Kids. And no, sadly, the edits where in certain anime they change the blood to a much worse white that makes it look like aren't real, but what they are is very funny. And just
okay.
before we wrap up, I thought we should look at the final boss of
cartoon,
censorship,
yay.
where they just give up and ban episodes completely.
Oh,
It
the
always really
banning.
fascinated me as a kid how little
Jesus.
censorship there was in Japan with kids shows. I was always really jealous that their Power Rangers could bleed and their Sonic could just casually swear.
Shit.
Going back
Okay, that second one, the second one did not happen.
to 4Kids one last time, there was an episode
Yeah,
of Pokemon
I
that
saw
featured,
this.
like
It got
30
banned, yeah.
seconds of firearms that was enough to defeat their invisible gun technology. And there was another
They're dead.
infamous one too, but YouTube definitely won't let me show that
Yeah,
one.
I know about
am
that,
sure
yeah.
that nobody is surprised that the record for the most censored or banned episodes belongs to South Park.
My favorite cartoon show of all time. Of course, he's got the most banned episodes. Hold on, there's like a guy. Was it Blooms? Yeah, Blooms. I watched him. He like did like a whole the band, all the banned episodes, and like why they were banned. I think it was definitely the was it Super Imaginary Friends? With it had like a person they should not have shown. They even got death threats or threats sent to them. He'll go through it.
And to go through all of their many controversies that caused banned or censored episodes.
There's the person they were not supposed to show.
You see, I learned something today.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force made an episode making fun of the time Ray marketing campaign for their movie resulted in a bomb scare that cost Cartoon Network $2 million in damages, but they weren't even allowed to air that one either. Lame. I know there was this one episode of Peppa Pig that got banned in Australia because the whole moral of it was that spiders are friendly and can't hurt you, which for the first time I genuinely think was a good call considering this is a country where spiders definitely can hurt you.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'm like, what? No, spiders are evil. Spiders are the devil. If it's not spider followed by man, it's the devil. We do not care. That's being eliminated the moment I see it. It has to be a spider followed by the word man, maybe with a hyphen in between, for it to be an okay spider.
Even Power Rangers got banned for a bit in Malaysia because they thought the word morphin was too similar to morphine, and therefore the show was encouraging heroin abuse. Yes, really. It's morphine time. This era of streaming services, at least, has been kind of a beautiful time when it comes to a lack of censorship, since while obviously they still have to fall under the general rating system, since they aren't technically TV, they don't have to be subject to as heavy censorship, a horrible show, which has kind of just led to like Netflix doing whatever the fuck they want. But that doesn't mean they can't apply their own censorship if they'd like that time in the movie Splash where Disney digitally added hair to cover up a butt. I know Disney specifically is notoriously frustrating with their studio notes with what can make it into episodes, so it honestly makes me
One last treat. Ever curious about the fights I have with the censors on Gravity Falls? I probably shouldn't share this, but here are some real notes from Disney, SPM. My real reply is you are not prepared. Neither right poop face as it comes across as a replacement for shit face. Prior to use of Mabel saying poop, and butts in the episode, fight fighters came across as more what? Huh? Okay, Disney. Okay, yeah, poop face. You can't say that on here. It's a kid's show. That's like a swear word. You swore.
With what can make it into episodes. So it honestly makes me super happy that shows like The Owl House made it as far as they have with showing like Luz and Amity's relationship. But that's obviously only if you live in the US. You bet not a single frame of that is made into countries like Taiwan.
Dang.
And shut that up. This goes for any newer cartoons at the moment with any form of LGBT content in it from any channel, like, of course, Steven Universe. I'm sure we all know why this one was censored, because of the gratuitous violence against watermelons. Seriously, by the way. So
no, you're lying. I'm sorry for pausing so much. It's like what some of the things he's saying, like, nah, there's no way.
Because of the gratuitous violence against watermelons. Seriously.
Watermelon Steven. The scene where Garnet shoots her gauntlets as rockets and explodes the watermelon Steven was cut. The scene where why? The scene where Pearl curls the watermelon Steven's midair was cut. The scene where Garnet kicks the watermelon Steven right after when she said, "It's a watermelon. It's a fruit. What it? It is what it is, I guess. Hey.
By the way. So yeah, that's a very brief look at how insane TV censorship is at times. I know I am only barely scratching the surface of how bad it gets, but maybe I'll save some of that other stuff for some other time.
You pissed me off.
But only if this video gets monetized.
If it did get monetized, that's hilarious. Make sure ending at the end. Okay. Wow, I did not know about some of this. I knew about some of the poor kids, but I didn't know how bad it got. That floating Zabuza always is one of my favorites I saw now. That floating Zabuza on a sword handle, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. Hold on. Zabuza floating on a sword handle is a hilarious image. Never knew censorship was this bad for certain shows. Oh man, that was a great video. That was a great, hilarious video. A lot of mind-blowing censorships that I've seen on here I saw. My God. Namely censored the sword handle, or the sword for Zabuza. And then the finger gun. You can't forget about the classic finger guns. The Shadow Realm was always iconic. But now there's a lot of mind-blowing stuff here. Again, the watermelons, remember, don't ever show watermelons being attacked. That's like a crime against... I don't know. It's a crime against something. One more time. Applause to Diamondbolt. Thank you for bringing light upon this. And don't you worry, we are going to be watching that video game Censorship 2 one day. But this was great. Now I see that he made a video on how the internet ruined Shrek, and all I can remember is Shrek is love, Shrek is life. I don't know if I want to watch that, but we'll see. We'll see. You know what? Let me know down below in the comments what's like the wildest censorship you have seen when watching like shows, TV shows. That Sword Hunter one is like it's stuck in my memory now. That was so hilarious. I'm gonna float. I'm Zabuza. I'm gonna float in this sword on this tree. Oh man, but yeah, thank you for watching. My cup of tea is out of here, everybody. See you later. Oh man. Oh man. I can't.